Okay, brand new project. Euroscope is now finished. It's on to Maidstone. Maidstone is the second project that I know that I am doing from the start. Or I knew that I was doing from the start. I have a brief, it's only one page, and it details what we have as budget, what we can move, and what we're doing. Basic outline is we are introduced to it actually in a meeting, so I can't hold up a piece of paper and say this is that, and I didn't really record or document anything like that, which is potentially something I should do, of documenting meetings and looking at how I can begin to upload those and do it more like an interview sort of thing, which would work better for documenting the beginning, because it's hard to talk really much about and reference much in a good way about a meeting that we had with someone else. The best way that I can do it is probably to discuss what was said. They came in as two people from the student body at this that were ended up being the director and the producer of their side. Then they came and presented what their idea for the performance would be. It was more a show, but I will refer to more or less all of these as performances, because everything on a camera is normally to an extent a performance. But it was a game show that they wanted to do, and they wanted it to be Hollywood themed. So they came to us and asked us to design and build a set. Unfortunately, a lot of the first week of production, I was not there, as I was still on Euroscope for a lot of that. I came back in the later stages, and as I've mentioned in the write-up for the end of this project, there was a lot of people already around and on that project, as it was the only one which had really started. So going back into that environment at that stage wasn't really necessary, because the work that was left to do was very minimal, and the work that I could do, there was already someone else there who wanted to do it, and there were people there that were better suited to do it. Paperwork isn't my strong point, which is rather the reason for doing vlogs rather than blogs. The other reason why the design side I'm not going into much is because there are better designers and better people with the aspects around that. Their books will look much nicer than mine would. So rather than trying to do what they're doing and spending time on that, seeing as it's collaborative, I'm going to let them do it, and I can focus on the later stages of construction and how I want to approach that. Particularly in this project, there is going to be a lot of big bits of set. There's going to be stuff that I can work on when other people are busy, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that I'll make in groups, because that way I can focus on cutting and getting and acquiring and sorting out, and they can focus on making it, or other parts or aspects. To that extent, I don't want to be dictating everything, I think is the best way to put it. I want to be working, I want to follow instructions, and there are people that are going to have to give me instructions, which I'm fine with. I'm not bad at taking instructions, it's just I normally want to work by myself, and I normally want to leave myself quite a lot, but it won't work like that in a real world, but it will work that I will be working with a group of people. So the designers I will work very closely with, and as I'm technically one of them, however I haven't been in for the first week, I will be there helping to go through and come up with ideas and designs and start to develop it, or help to develop it when it comes to the types of materials and processes that we can use to create whatever ideas are created. So the way that I want to work this project more is I want to be collaborating and directing, rather than just making it myself and having points where I'm the only person working for a day or 2 days at a time. It is possible that I could do it myself, but it is probably better that I don't do it, as I can pass parts off and there can be multiple things being made or done or marked out at once, which is just probably a better way of working with this project, as there isn't the greatest amount of time before it moves out. But it looks like with none of these projects there's going to be the greatest amount of time, because everything is tightly packed into this quarter term or this quarter year project, where we produce for many companies that would like months and months of progress before the actual work would need to go out, as well as they're stacking on top of each other, reason for me not being on the design team for a lot of them. As well as this project being part of a unit that I'm doing, I'm also starting off on the design and development and beginning stages of making for another project, my next one called Razzmatazz, as I'm finishing off this project at the same time. They're both similar in what they're asking me to make currently, which are large props, though Razzmatazz may develop into smaller props as well. The designs and ideas that are going to be making for this is it's movie themed, so popcorn, red carpet, purple and red and gold, and nice strong colours. Strong colours is something that will probably carry through the entirety of this project as its stage and set, etc. The budget for the entire piece is $850, and all of it has got to fit inside one large panel van to be removed at the end of the build so that it can go into the space at Maidstone Studios. The teams that I'm going to be working with is a design team that will be based around 7 or 9 people, making the design drawings, technical plans, cutting plans, documents of design, model boxes, artistic designs, costings, material qualities and properties, which will be where I will probably help. Most of the materials that we'll be using will probably be MDF or ply, depending on the quantity or what we use it for. Probably using MDF as it's cheaper, and all the material qualities that wood has will be one thing that I will discuss when we start to go through the making process, as it changed from what I suggested, which was MDF, to ply because of the wood being delivered in that form, though I don't see why MDF would not be usable. It's just a very much cheaper and more problematic wood at points. After the design team and the help I give there, I will then also be helping with the making team, actually producing these items. I will be leading more than I will attempt to not be the person who pushes in and tries to do it all. I will try to step back and help everybody else learn at the same time, as there's not many other people that are as practically active as I normally am. Most people try to make smaller stuff. I'm happy to go to massive scales of Maidstone Studios without really much consideration of it might be more difficult, because it's only the same thing, just bigger. And scale is something that you can easily play around with in film or theatre. The next team after that will be the painting teams, which will take whatever we paint and paint it up into a finished product. We will then help loading and setting up at the other end, but there'll be a sort of split in the making teams between painting and finishing and sanding and all those steps, and the making team, which will be much smaller but will produce all the items that then go off to be painted. As far as the groups of people that we're collaborating with, we also have to go through our tutors to verify orders, to actually push the financial side of the project forwards. If it was a real world thing, that would be the same as having a as having someone in charge of a bursary system to pay for items in a larger workshop where multiple projects are going through, or to have someone such as a manager, or it's a second manager, to agree on to define and finalise budgets before they're sent off, and it's based at our campus, so we can have that there. The other students that we will be working with are the students at Maidstone Studios themselves. There is a UCA campus or facilities based there where there are currently practicing and working technical practitioners that work inside film industries, and they are tutors for the students. And the students themselves in the first and second year are actually putting together the performance themselves. So the second years are the directors, the producers, the cutting, whoever's whatever the name is for the person working the cutting desk, also camera operating and everything around that style of TV, of the actual practical filming, editing and production of it. So we don't really focus on anything to do with lighting, camera. All we have for this project, unlike the last one for me, is just set. And for me specifically, set building and technical material problems. But that's about it as I know at the moment. When it starts to be building, I can talk through problems that we have with items, and I can go through with time lapses that I've taken of the other groups, what their painting is and what they've done, also how it has been setting up in the space for that particular set, and how it differs to the fabric and scaffolding of my last project with Euroscope. But that's in the future videos. For now, that will be it, and hopefully that gives you an idea of how this project is structured and how it's going to be moving forwards in the coming weeks. I won't do any vlogs or any video footage like this for them. A lot of that will be actually time-lapsed, as I can set up cameras more easily, capture the entire thing, and when I have to move it, I can edit it and put it together, and hopefully there will be a voiced over time-lapse of the entire project. But for now, that should be it. Thank you, and that's it.